Hello. What if I told you that you can achieve your goals and dreams faster by delaying gratification? When traveling the world, I get approached by many people solely because they recognize the University of Michigan logo on my clothes. So check this out. 5 years ago, I'm checking out of a hotel in Barcelona, Spain, on my way to a cruise ship wearing my Michigan threads. The woman in line behind me asked me if I was from Michigan. No, I grew up in a small town in Indiana, but I did attend college and medical school at U of M. Well, where'd you grow up in Indiana? She asked. I said, oh, it's a small town called Crown Point. Surprised, she said, my husband grew up in Crown Point. She shouted for her husband, who briskly came running up to us and said, my name is John. Oh, I was in total shock. It turns out that John was one of my best friends in 7th grade, and I hadn't seen him in 40 years. John and I embraced and quickly caught up on the last 4 decades in 4 short minutes as our families departed on the same cruise ship. Now understand, I wasn't always able to travel the world. I couldn't get all the things I wanted when I was young. Growing up as a teenager in Indiana, we had no money. We emigrated from communist Cuba when I was only 3, escaping a life of uncertainty for a better future. My father worked 2 full-time jobs, and my mother was going to college 3 hours away from home while attempting to speak a foreign language. I was sent 1,000 miles away to grow up with my grandparents while my parents reestablished themselves in a new world. We didn't have a car, so I walked to school daily in the harsh winters of Northwest Missouri. Some of my so-called friends made fun of our family for being different and having accents. Unlike many of my friends who had fancy vacations each summer or were gifted cars when turning 16, I couldn't have the immediate gratification everyone else got. As a freshman in high school, I wanted so badly to play hockey for our high school team, but my parents simply couldn't afford the expensive equipment. Oh, I felt cheated, felt envious, and I even felt a little bitter. We live in an era of instant gratification, where we expect immediate results and instant rewards. However, you can achieve your goals and dreams faster by embracing delayed gratification. When I accepted setting aside immediate gratification and instead focused on my studies and education to become a physician, I quickly learned that my life goals occurred much sooner. During college, I only had student loans and a few scholarships. I chose to live frugally and avoided spending on fancy meals, but instead ate the meals in the dorms. I limited my partying and concerts, and after graduating and starting my ophthalmology residency, earning a meager living, I chose to spend wisely and save. Within a few short years of working, I could travel the world, buy fancy cars, and most importantly, financially support my parents who sacrificed their lives for me. Delayed gratification is the practice of resisting the temptation for immediate rewards and instead choosing to invest time and effort into long-term goals. One of the critical benefits of delayed gratification is the development of resilience, strengthening our ability to overcome obstacles, endure challenges, and persevere through setbacks. delayed gratification allows us to gain clarity about our goals and aspirations. It forces us to reflect on what truly matters and identify the steps needed to achieve those goals. It teaches us to control our impulses and make conscious choices that serve our long-term interests. By delaying instant gratification, we become masters of our desires rather than slaves to our impulses. Delayed gratification teaches us the art of patience, allowing us to wait for the right opportunities and make thoughtful decisions, enabling us to embrace the journey rather than obsess over the destination. One of the most famous and well-known studies that demonstrates the positive power of delayed gratification is the so-called Stanford marshmallow experiment, conducted by psychologist Walter Mischel in the early 1970s. Now, in this experiment, young children ages 4 through 6 were individually presented with a marshmallow or another treat of their choice. The researchers explained that they could eat the treat immediately, but if they waited for about 15 minutes, the children would receive an additional treat as a reward. The children were left alone in the room, and their struggle to resist temptation was observed. The results were fascinating. Some children couldn't resist the temptation and ate the treats right away, while others successfully delayed gratification to receive the second treat. Years later, follow-up longitudinal studies showed that those children who displayed greater self-control and delayed gratification performed better academically, had higher SAT scores, and exhibited better social and emotional skills in adolescence and adulthood. Now, delaying gratification takes 3 simple steps. First, clearly define your most important long-term goal. Reflect on what truly matters to you. Write it down and keep it as a visible reminder of your vision. Second, create a structured plan to achieve your goal. If necessary, break down your goal into smaller, more manageable steps. Assign realistic timelines to each milestone and chart your progress regularly. And third, practice mindful decision-making. When faced with choices that involve immediate rewards, but may hinder your progress toward long-term goals, pause and consider the consequences. Embrace self-discipline and choose actions that align with your long-term vision. So I challenge you to step back from the immediate gratification culture and invest in your growth and potential. Remember, success is not an overnight phenomenon, but a journey of consistent efforts and dedicated focus. Next time you encounter a temptation, simply stop. Write it down. Do not act on it, but instead wait 1 week to let it sink into your subconscious. 1 week later, you can think about it again, but the temptation will be far less. This is how to learn to flex your delayed gratification muscle. So, let's dare to be patient and persistent and let delayed gratification propel us toward accelerated achievements. Together, we can reshape our futures and make a long-lasting impact on ourselves and the world. Thank you.